Hello there and welcome to Community Life. Here we talk with the community experts about their life journeys and learn from each other. And today we have a conversation with Ben Lang, head of community at Notion, an angel investor, a high-tech and community guy who is always in multiple places at one time, and who already was an internet entrepreneur at 14 years. So, hello, Ben.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Finally, we had a lot of conversations, but finally we are here. And I have first question for you. Tell me a story of bartering a website in exchange for a new laptop.
Wow, that's definitely a throwback. I think when I was like 15, maybe or 14, I had helped who was it? I'd helped someone with a website, a real estate company with a website, and in exchange, I asked them for a laptop. I don't even know how you found out about this, so it's funny that you should mention it.
Do you do you know the story of this website after that?
It was just a website for the real estate company. So I don't know what the status is because it was so many years ago, but it was just to kind of display their properties and the work they were doing.
Got it. And you recently went to Japan. So what did you learn from this trip?
I had the best time. I really love Japan. I love the people. I was so impressed with how clean it is, how efficient, how modern. Of course, the food, uh, the people are incredible. The nature. I really love Japan and everything it stands for.
What was the best food you tried there?
Uh, I think just the fresh fish was fantastic. Sushi, definitely the best I ever had.
What is the difference between Japanese sushi and other world sushis?
I I'm not an expert.
From your perspective,
I feel like the fish is a bigger deal. Like really kind of emphasizing uh, the freshness of the fish. And I went out with some folks who kind of taught me how to properly eat the sushi. How you're supposed to dip the fish into the soy sauce and then flip it over so that the fish hits your tongue before the rice. And I feel like there's just a really kind of deep appreciation for the fish on the sushi, and I love that.
got it. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your parents. Who are they?
My parents, my dad is French, my mom is American, and they met in Israel. I was born in Israel, and yeah, what else can I share?
Anything you like how did they met?
Yeah. Oh, so my dad works in tech. He has always kind of been an entrepreneur, worked on tech companies, four different tech companies, and my mom is a yoga teacher and writer. They met, I think, through a friend, and yeah, I think they're I've learned a lot from both of them over the years.
Is your love to tech from your dad?
I uh I think yeah, I think partially. I mean, we definitely grew up with that as like a topic and something. It just obviously came up uh, when I was younger, and I always really admired my dad and his work and just him as a person and seeing kind of what he's done. So I've definitely I think been inspired by him on that front.
At what age you were, at least at what age you remember you started being connected with tech world?
I mean, I started like with eBay. That was my thing when I was 14. I started selling people stuff for them on eBay. So I wouldn't call that like the most interesting tech, but it was a fun kind of side business for me. And it was just a, helpful service to people who, before Facebook Marketplace, it wasn't so easy to sell stuff on eBay, and you had to have ratings and be able to ship stuff and take pictures, and there weren't really even smartphones. So it was a lot harder. And so I kind of filled the gap and helped people with that.
And how did you know, how did you know that you should get to eBay? Like, was it a feeling, or you heard somewhere that it's a good stuff? Like, how the story started, how your story with eBay started?
It was actually thanks to my grandfather. He had some camera equipment he wanted to sell. And so I filled that for him, and then realized I could do that for other people as well. So it was totally thanks to him, and him asking for help with that.
And how did you feel when you got interviewed for the Use 12 TV channel at 14 years old as an internet entrepreneur?
I think it was just, for me, it was like a kind of a wild experience that people were all of a sudden interested in me just doing this kind of fun side hustle. And it really went viral on YouTube. It got like a couple 100,000 views. And for me, I realized that like I could kind of keep building on that. And, I ended up kind of doing a bunch of other things outside of just eBay after. And that was, I think, like a kind of a turning point for me.
In this interview, you were talking about those small figures of soldiers, and you told like, I didn't really know, but they like cost a lot of money. So what was those figures?
They were they were like painted figurines. I think they were like a collectible, and I guess people would pay a premium for them. I don't remember where they were from, but people did like them.
So you had no ideas what they are.
I don't. Yeah, I certainly didn't know, and I can't recall exactly what they were, but they had value.
Yeah, it's so fun that some piece of. By the way, what they were made of?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's jump a little closer to you. What is the first memory of your childhood that comes to your mind right now?
First memory of childhood. I mean, first one I think about maybe is like my summers in France. My grandparents live in France, and so starting from the age of 5, I would go. My parents would ship me off on a plane, and I would go to France for the summer. And a lot of my early childhood memories are from those experiences.
What do you remember the most from this journey?
I remember having a lot of fun on the plane, like being alone, and being able to drink soda and watch movies. Like that was a big deal for me. And then, you know, like harvesting green beans and cherries with my grandparents, and around, biking around like the villages nearby, and watching French TV shows. Those were I have very vivid memories of all of that.
What one TV show you remember the most? What it was about?
Um, just any TV show or from France?
From France that he was at this moment.
Uh, um, oh goodness. I think there was one. I think it was called Asterix. It was like
Okay.
these like Roman. I'm trying to remember what it was exactly. I remember them pretty vividly, like the characters. Like there was this, like a small guy and a bigger guy, and they teamed up, and I think they were Roman, or they were fighting against the Romans. I can't remember exactly, but I remember really liking that with them.
Yeah, I remember when they always got in some troubles and they always had this magical drink and they always like had powers and the bigger one felt in a bottle like in this big can of this drink. That's why he was always super powerful. Yes. I remember the show. It was just great. And
Yeah.
ta talking back about your flight experience. So I can't even imagine how it might feel flying at 5 years old yourself from the US to France. And how did you feel? Did you freak out or you were like, oh my God, I'm so grown up. I'm doing it by myself. So do you remember those feelings?
Um, I remember being pretty excited, like more as like, oh, this is an awesome adventure. I don't really recall like freaking out too much.
You know, everywhere I saw you, like on Twitter, on LinkedIn, everywhere in an internet, you were always go with Ben. But this in this interview, they told Benjamin. So who calls you ever Benjamin?
Usually just my parents. I think I maybe I went more by Benjamin when I was younger, and then over time more so Ben.
At what moment did you decide to go by Ben?
Uh, I don't know what the moment was. I just kind of Benjamin always felt like more formal to me, and takes a little bit longer to pronounce it. Ben's just easy. So with like friends and work, it just felt easier or online. But I think within my family, I still like when the family calls me Benjamin. I feel like it's more I don't know, more intimate name for me.
Does your wife call you Benjamin from time to time?
Um, I think from time to time. I think from time to time.
Got
Yeah.
it. You were talking sometimes that you loved in childhood building Lego blocks. So what was your favorite Lego set?
Uh, I I didn't I don't, like I didn't really have Lego sets. I more just had like a massive. I still have like a massive box of Lego pieces, and it wasn't like today where there are all these sophisticated sets. It was just thousands of pieces where you could just build anything. So it was more so like DIY, do whatever you want, uh, and less so like the kind of sets that they have today. I really feel like I should get back into it. Like I would love to get one of those really sophisticated sets and see what it's like building them. It seems so fun.
And what were you building?
Uh, I just ended building like castles and forts and cars and little worlds, things like that.
And after you've built something, did you, I don't know, put it on the shelf and like watching it, or maybe you just finish something, play it a little, break everything to the dust and start from the beginning? How did this process look for you?
Uh, I think I think I kept some of them and played with them. By the way, I haven't thought about these things since they actually happened. So I certainly have not been asked questions like this, I guess, ever in my life. Yeah, I think it was a bit of a mix.
Got it. And once you shared that when you was a high school student, you decided that college wasn't for you. Why did you decide that college wasn't for you?
Uh, why did I decide it wasn't for me? I just I always felt like learning on my own was better for me, and I didn't like I never really loved kind of being in that framework and like writing essays and tests. Like I was able to do it. It's just never really felt like the most I don't know, the productive way to learn. So I kind of started to think about things a little differently.
Did your parents accept your decision?
I think my dad did. My mom maybe questioned it for a while. But I was always like, I was pretty independent from early on. And I didn't ask my parents for too much, like for very much. And I think they realized I was able to kind of navigate my own life and didn't really have any troubles. So if it hadn't been that way, it might have been a little harder.
And you told that you were learning, that you loved learning by yourself. So where is this love? First of all, how did it look like? Like what was your learning process?
I guess I just always felt like by doing things, I was able to learn more. So I always loved like building stuff or creating projects, um, reading things, watching YouTube videos. Like for me, like just kind of immersing myself in that way was always the most enjoyable. And I always found it to be like pretty effective to just kind of dive into things.
Do you think it was like from the early ages, or did you learn to learn?
I have no idea. I don't know if I'm good at it. Like might not be that like it's that it might not even be that I'm good at it. It might just be that that's what I enjoy, and and it just works better for me. There's a lot, a lot of things I probably don't know as well as people who went to university, and I think there's also a lot of uh, areas that require that type of advanced education. Like I don't think you would want a doctor who didn't spend 10 years in medical school. So I think it really depends on what you want to do. And, I think working in tech, you kind of have more of a liberty to discover things on your own. But some industries, you really don't have that liberty.
As a parent myself, I'm always questioning the current studying system, and I'm always curious. Like, we have so much information out there on YouTube. We have this ChatGPT stuff. We have a lot of people to reach out to learn from them. We have a lot of opportunities to try to learn. So, do you think the learning process is changing from, I don't know, when you were a kid and now?
Is it changing? Um, I, I don't know too much. 'Cause I don't know what it's like in preschools or, lower, like I just don't have that much access to it. I, I'd imagine, I mean, I hope so. I feel like there's just so much more opportunity to like be independent with just there, like education is so much more like democratized through all the content and I mean, incredible content there is. You just don't need to create content anymore. Like it's all out there in every language and every topic, and if you can kind of help people access that, I think that's really powerful. Um, so I'd imagine it's changed, and hopefully for the better.
How would you like your children to learn?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I think it would be really cool to give them the opportunity to kind of focus on like learn things that are like critical and important that everyone should know, but then also like have a lot of time to focus or explore things that interest them, excite them, um, kind of develop that like independence. I think there are schools that do that, and I would definitely lean more towards that.
Got it. So, Corona Crush, what is the story behind it?
It is a dating group for Jews on
And
Facebook.
what is the story behind it? How did it start?
Yeah, sorry. So me and a couple friends started it went during kind of as the pandemic broke out. We thought, could be a good opportunity to help people connect. And we were all thinking about like dating at that time. So we created a group where people could post their friends who were single, and it really went viral in like the Jewish world. And today there's like 25,000 people in it. Last I heard, like maybe 6 months ago, 50 couples had gotten married from it. I'd imagine there's way more at this point. We probably can't even keep track at this point. So it's been really successful, and I think really amazing. Like how this little side project was able to create such an impact on people's lives in such a real way.
Why do you think it went viral?
Well, I mean, for the first couple of years of the pandemic, like there was just people were looking for ways to engage online, and there was just a lot more demand for that. And then I think the format was kind of neat, where you were posting about friends, so it was a lot more of like kind of a matchmaker than like the way traditional apps work, where you're just kind of swiping through people. So I think much more like authentic profiles, and we also it was also curated and moderated. So I think it just kind of made it like a really kind of solid space for people to meet and connect.
How did you make sure that, like in a dating world, there can be a lot of scams, there can be a lot of strange people, attending. How did you make sure that, there are real people, good people, and all this stuff?
Well, we there were a couple questions you had to answer when you joined, and so we would review them and make sure that they were legitimate. And if there were people who seemed shady, we would be a little careful and wary, and maybe check mutual friends or anything to kind of keep it like a safe space. And then of course moderation. There For any group of that size, that's something you have to kind of keep improving over the years.
Am I hearing it correct that it was mostly the word of mouth?
Yeah, it was definitely word of mouth.
Got it. And how do you feel in general about the word of mouth as I don't know, marketing, sales, growth tool in nowadays world?
I think it's really just about building a product that people love and want to share. Like this was something people loved, this idea, and they wanted to share with their friends. So that was why word of mouth was so strong. If you build something people care about and love, people will talk about it.
Totally. And tell me, how did you meet your wife?
We met at a Friday night Shabbat dinner in New York, and then we reconnected a couple of years later in Jerusalem. So it was a bit of a break in between.
Was it the first dinner you've ever attended, or it was like?
No, I had been at these like I mean Shabbat is like every week from Friday night to Saturday night for Jews. It's like their day of rest, and so normally Friday night you might have a meal with family or friends, and kind of celebrating the day of rest. So that was where we had met at a friend's house who had kind of organized a Shabbat dinner.
I just remember when you were sharing that you felt like you can't find satisfaction and you don't know what to try, and then one of your friends invited you, like, hey, let's go to this Shabbat dinner. And he was like, yeah, okay, why not? And then you like, I feel like that you fell in love in that time. Tell me more about this story.
I'm still so curious about where you where I shared this information now, because I totally don't recall it being public.
Got it.
That's so funny. I had tried to go out after the dinner, and didn't work. It didn't end up working out for a variety of reasons. and then we just walked into each other 2 years later during the pandemic in Jerusalem on the other side of the world. So and then we kind of tried again, and then spent a lot of time together because it was the pandemic and there was I mean everything was shut down, so it was a good excuse to spend time, and it was really really great, and uh, yeah, that was kind of how it happened. So it was a bit wild that we reconnected after all that time.
Totally. And what do you enjoy doing the most together?
Enjoy doing the most. Um, I mean, we've definitely traveled a lot together, which has been really fun to a bunch of different places. Uh, and we like trying new things. I don't know, like activities, adventures. Done a lot of random cool things. Like we have a kind of a bucket list of things to try. Um, what else? Yoga. Try to do like yoga together, which is nice. Um, and then I think like we're both observant Jews, so we have like the Shabbat and Jewish holidays, which is a lot of kind of meaningful time and kind of connecting around that is really great.
Once you shared, it was a post on Twitter, that you moved your entire life into Notion, and there were category of goals. So where they were to learn, to try, to read, to visit, and to accomplish. So what are your number one positions in to try and to accomplish categories?
So my Notion has changed a lot over the years. It's very far from how it looks now. I don't have those pages anymore. That was like my first iteration of Notion. I don't really know what is in there. I think I might still have, let me see. I might still have the to accomplish one. Or I might have renamed it. Yeah, long. Yeah, I have some like long term goals that I've kept in here over the years. Wow, these are hilarious. But just to give you an idea of some of them, be able to do a headstand on the beach, be able to wake up at 5 a.m. easily every day, get a Japanese toilet. What else is here? Take a flight course, grow a garden, get a dishwasher.
Yeah, that's
some of these are crossed off, and some of these are in progress. It's been a while, but these are some totally random things that have come up over the years.
So getting a flying course and getting dishwasher, staying on the head on the beach, it's rather, yeah, I know. But tell me more about getting a Japanese toilet.
It's funny because we spoke a lot about that when we were in Japan last week, about how amazing the toilets are there. They have like, I mean, the toilets are like sophisticated devices. They have washing settings and music and heating, and they close automatically and open automatically and more. Like they're just unbelievable. And I don't remember who it was. If it was like, was it? I can't remember who said. I think it was the guy from Atomic Habits, or maybe it was someone else who said like, the things that you use every day, like you should invest in them, like a garbage can or your shower head, right? Like you use it so much every day. Like don't get one that's going to break get one that's going to work really well. So I feel like a toilet is something that people use every day and don't invest that much in, and for some reason in Japan they figured it out. Like they have them everywhere in offices and public bathrooms and restaurants and homes. Like, and they're just 10x better than the toilets like everywhere else. So I just that's why it's on my list.
By the way, talking about home toilets and public toilets. So, for example, in Europe, I saw that it's definitely a huge difference. Like public toilets just suck most of the time. But what is an experience in Japan?
They're fantastic. I mean, it's everything is so clean, and the bathrooms are clean as well, and they have also these these premium toilets relative to what we have in the rest of the world. So it's just very impressive.
I can imagine, one day we'll be lucky to see those toilets
Yeah.
all over the world. Maybe, maybe not. But tell me a little more about getting easily at 5 a.m. First of all, why do you want to get up at 5 a.m.?
I mean, I consider myself a morning person, but I I have like I've never been able to like get up that early, and I really feel like I'm the most productive and kind of active early in the morning, and I would really love to be able to kind of take that to the next level by getting up very early, very early. Obviously, going to sleep earlier. Uh, so I hope at a certain point to do that.
Are you a fan of 5 a.m. Club book?
I don't know it.
It's written by Robin Sharma, and it's the whole system about waking up at 5 a.m. and being the most productive. And it's like when you wake up at 5 a.m., you should spend 20 minutes on some physical activities, 20 minutes on some learning, 20 minutes on some meditation or some yoga. And I know that there is a huge movement of getting up at 5 a.m. So when you thought about it, I was like, oh, maybe Ben have read this book. Maybe it's something in there. But since no, tell me, what do you think might be the first step to take in getting up at 5 a.m.?
I think going to sleep earlier is important.
Is it possible?
I think it's possible. You just have to be like disciplined enough to do it. And then, I mean, you can train your body to do anything really. I think you just have to get used to it. So it might take a little bit of suffering early on, but once you're used to it, I don't think it's like that big of a deal. You just have to be. I think keep being disciplined about going to sleep early enough to do it. I'm not able to survive on 5 hours of sleep a night. I need a certain amount of hours of sleep. So I have to make it work somehow.
Totally. And does your wife also would like to get up at 5 a.m.?
No, definitely not.
Uh, how can you work it out? How can you incorporate both in your life,
I don't know yet. It's a good question.
Okay, so how did you feel when your wife drew herself an ocean portrait?
I really liked it. I was very proud of her for drawing the ocean portrait, and I I encourage her to draw more of them because she's really good at drawing ocean portraits. And now we have a nice little portrait of both of us, so it goes well together.
It's a very lovely story also. And once you shared that you had no shame in reaching out to anyone with any idea or request, viewing everything as a new opportunity. But usually people are so afraid of reaching out to others. So what was the worst thing that ever happened to you after reaching out to somebody?
I can't think of anything bad. That's why I think it's totally fine to reach out to anyone. And the worst thing that happens is they ignore you and don't answer. But like, it's not that bad. I mean, what does it matter? That's why I don't think there's any downside.
So for you personally, what is the best way to connect with people?
Me, I mean, there's some folks I connect with online and maybe hang out more on like Twitter or LinkedIn, and there's people who it's more in person and kind of spending more significant amount of time with them, doing things together. I think it depends on the situation, the person, what makes the most sense. Logistically, also, being in the same place. Um, yeah,
Do you easily connect with every person?
I don't think so. I think I'm more of an introvert, and I I can get a little tired from kind of spending too much time with other people, and might need time to recharge alone. So it's not always the easiest thing for me.
Sometimes people usually talking about red flags when they talk to others and, oh my God, I see some red flags. I want to be talking to this person. So do you have any green flags? So if you see something in somebody and it's like, oh, that's my kind of person.
That's a good question. It's a really good question. Um, People play games. Like I like I like playing board games, and I feel like that's a really fun way to connect with people and really get to know them. And I oftentimes like people who like games and also who get competitive. That would be a green flag for me.
What are your favorite board games?
I go through phases. There's like there's like classic ones like Catan, Settlers of Catan, and then recently been playing more like Blender. Um, but I have a bunch, and then I really enjoy playing games with friends when possible.
How much competitive can you get while playing those games?
I get pretty competitive.
Have you ever
Uh,
have you ever had a fight with somebody?
um, Not like a serious one. I don't think serious, but I definitely get like spiteful and and will like make a big deal out of nothing because it's fun and I think it's just a fun way to spend time.
I feel like that's exactly what happens when you play a good game with good people because you just can be yourself with them and you just can have this fun all together. And yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of feel you on this at this point. And once you shared that some time ago you decided to become Torah observant. So what it means for you personally?
What does it mean? I think like for Jews, living an observant lifestyle, meaning um, trying or doing the best to kind of live by those guidelines. There's a lot, but part of examples of that include like what you're allowed to eat, what you're not allowed to eat, um, the Sabbath, like the day of rest, the Jewish holidays that come up throughout the year, prayer, even donations, and how you use your money. It applies to like a lot of almost every. I mean, applies to every area of your life, and something that is deeply important to me.
Once you shared that your father were a modern Orthodox and a non-observant mother, and you questioned all that. You questioned, should I do that? Should I not? So why did you decide to become Torah observant?
Uh, yeah, I stopped. Like I had a period of life where I stopped, and then I ended up kind of being or finding myself back in. Um, I I spent a lot of time with some like a couple different people and families, and I've really gained a lot of appreciation for like their for the way they thought about life and kind of how they incorporated their values or how they incorporated like that into their values and belief systems, and it really kind of inspired me and took me a few years to kind of get deeper into that and just realized that it was for me it was the type of life that I wanted to live.
And what changed in your life after you chose this path?
Um, I mean, like I said, it's really it affects every part of it. How you spend your time, what you do, where you go, what you eat, all of that, and yeah, it's more of like a 20. Yeah, it's a constant, and I think, but I think a big part of it is also like a big value in that type of life is growth and like continuing to learn and grow. And most people don't have it figured out from day one. It takes a lifetime of learning and growth to continue to like reach where you want. And I think that's a big part of it, which is something I really admire and connect with.
Once you shared that you've been lucky enough to just have fun with what you do every day. Did you learn to have fun, or it's just the kind of person you are?
I think, yeah, I think just kind of how I live.
What does it mean for you to have fun?
Um, just kind of doing things that excite me, that I enjoy. Um, I that's yeah, pretty simple answer, but that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, like sometimes there is hasn't be any sophisticated, structure behind. It's just the way it is, and that's exactly who you are. And I wonder, if you are not having fun with something, do you stop doing it immediately, or still trying to find the fun part in it?
Um, I guess try to find it, and if you're not able to, maybe kind of pivot or iterate. But uh, yeah, I think kind of trying to look more on the positive side.
You told that you like to travel with your wife. So what is your favorite place to revisit?
Uh, like where would I want to?
It's a place you were already and you want to visit it again, to revisit.
I mean, we just went to Japan. I definitely want to go back one day. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, France is somewhere I go often because I have family there, and I would definitely love to like explore more. I think it's a really beautiful country and um, a lot to love about it. But I'm very much into also just new places. So ideally want to see, visit new places if possible.
And what is the new place you'd like to visit?
Is a new place. I really want to go to Patagonia in Argentina. I think that would be really great. And I've never been to Africa, so I'd love to go on a safari in Africa because they're probably like top of the list.
Got it. Ben, I really wish to have the sky as the limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Call or message somebody?
Depends who. Some people call, some people message.
New York or San Francisco?
Depends for what.
What are your favorite color and song?
Blue, and I don't have a favorite.
Okay, so what is the song that was on your repeat during the last week?
I listen to I listen to Coldplay a lot, so probably something from Coldplay, or I also listen to some Israeli / Jewish music, so could be that. Probably one of the two.
If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Maybe teleport.
Who do you learn from in the community world? Name just one person.
Like Erica Cool, definitely a big fan.
Name two people whose community life journey you would love to listen to.
I mean, Erica Cool. I think I would love to listen to hers. And maybe probably Francisco and Emma, who also work on Community at Notion. I know a lot about them, but I feel like this type of interview, I'll learn a lot more. So they're both incredible people, and a lot to learn from them. So it'd be great to hear from them.
Got it. Thank you very much for sharing them. And is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
I think you asked fantastic questions.
Got it, Ben. Thank you very much for your kind words, and thank you very much for being such an open and chatty person and having this good amount of laugh, and really not that kind of stand-up comedy laugh, but really kind, personal, heart kind of laugh. And yeah, I enjoyed very much our conversations, and thank you very much for giving me your time.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed your questions and brought up a lot of really great memories. So appreciate you taking the time to do this.
And see you in the community world. And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button or 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.